let's just talk about the recruiting real quick. I know that we got 2 new defensive recruits coming in again, Nico Jandro, or Nico, I'm not going to figure out how to say his name, and then Corey Smith. A lot of people are talking about how small the class is. I think that I don't know, with not knowing how the House settlement's going to go in NIL, and now with what Tennessee is doing, I think it's hard to really grade recruiting. I know that the guys that are kind of that are following the recruiting trail, like a Josh McCuistion or a Parker Thune, those guys are also kind of talking about this a lot. Where how do you balance what you can get out of the portal versus what you can get out of high school? And right now, ideally you would want to have guys come out of high school, you develop them for a couple of years, and they're there for 2 years as starters with familiarity with the program. Is that an option right now? We don't know. And if it's not an option to do that, do you want to save those spots for what might be in the portal? Do you want to save those spots for who might decide to enter the graduate portal? Because remember, if you're a graduate transfer, you don't have to wait for a portal. You can transfer at any time, and there's no window. So are you waiting for those guys to hop in the portal to see if you can pick 1 or 2 up? Or are you going to, fill up roster spots? Because if you look at last year, there were a lot of things a lot of people were making noise about how small our class was with only, I think, 17 signees. But we had, I think, 2 years ago when Dylan Gabriel was here, we had the number 1 most snaps by freshmen. Last year we were number 2 by freshmen. So we're playing really young players, and a lot of those guys are all coming back. And when you have really young players, that's also what recruits look at, is how early can I get playing time. And I think that's just one symptom of the experience we have coming back. A symptom of that is just going to be, or an effect of that is going to be, the recruiting trail maybe not being as hot early on, or especially this early on. And then you have I think too, with the Bo Bentley and Jaden O'Neal saga that's going on, the quarterback position. It's interesting. Florida State is looking like they are going to be a true threat for the flip. Hand on a Bible right now. I think it's hard for me to imagine that. Sorry, we just got a comment here by OU Revenge Tour. It says, if OU being bad is what made the OKC Thunder Dynasty start, I'm going to accept it this year. Well, this year, yeah. I can't stand OU being bad, though. I'd rather OU be good and the Thunder not have a dynasty between the two.
Yeah. There's some
Put that in the chat. What would y'all rather have? I think we all would agree with that, right?
I think anybody that's watching the show right now would rather OU be good.
Right.
Not that we don't love our Thunder. I'm very much pro Thunder. Yeah. Big Thunder fan.
Big Thunder fans.
Also, all of their games are at a decent hour.
This is big for T. Big for
T. Like 7 and 7:30. That's such big news.
Stacey, rock.
Yes, Stacey, thank you for reminding us. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Share the videos. Throw us some comments. Throw us some likes. Honestly, the best thing you can do is just like the video. It's super easy, super quick. So go ahead and do that now. I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1, like.
The other way. By the way, how do you count to 3 on your hand? No, you were doing it weird the other day.
Okay, so yeah, no.
Count to 4.
That's how I counted. 1, 2, 3.
She's like, there's 3 of them. I was like, no, there's no one. Someone starts with a thumb.
3.
And then she goes to 4.
3, my lord.
Anyway.
Sorry, this is why we get off back. But anyways, back to Joe No.
Yeah, so actually this is good. Well, Kate Nadelman says, why not both?
We would
Very
love
true.
That.
Why
Very
not
much.
both? Yep.
Great for the state.
And then Jonathan asks if is it a flip if we seem to be backing off Jaden O'Neal? I think that's true. I think the national media, the perception would be a flip. I think those that are in the know with where OU is looking at Bo Bentley, and I think really they see him fitting more of what Arbuckle likes to do offensively, having a real mobile quarterback like Bo Bentley is, fits his style. Jaden O'Neal, remember, he's been committed for, I think, 11 months. He's the longest-standing recruit we have, and that was long before Ben Arbuckle got here. And I'm just thinking, if I was a young right, yeah, and I'm just thinking if I was a young kid and I was like in high school, and I commit to Oklahoma, and now I see Oklahoma in the offensive coordinator that they brought in, kind of courting his first quarterback, and it's not me. Whenever. When Jackson Arnold, for example, was, and again, you have to separate Jackson Arnold in high school as the recruit versus what we saw, last year and whatever in college. As the high school recruit, no one would say he wasn't a 5-star, one of the best in the country. He just literally was. And you saw Oklahoma still make concerted efforts to keep him committed because they saw that whatever, they believed at the time and saw the talent then, and they worked to keep him keep him coming to OU. Mm-hmm. Where Jaden O'Neal, it's got to be a little bit of, what do you see different in Bo Bentley versus me? Because you are seriously pushing hard to get him out of Texas right now.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, I am here I'm here at Mustang. I'm here in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I made the move. And maybe we're all reading into it too much. Maybe he's taking visits and just wants to see the programs. I know that, BV says you're not committed in that way, but maybe that's what it is. And, we all are going to look back and think, it was just, it wasn't a big deal.
Right.
I just, for me, sorry, I don't mean to filibust, but just for me, I would have a hard time as a young kid, to be honest with you. If it's almost like if you're going to be with me, be with me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want you saying you're with me and then you're looking at all these other people at the bar, Like, don't do that. If you're going to be with me, be with me. Stop looking at other people. And that's how I'd feel, personally.
Right. I feel like I'm kind of getting scolded. I didn't do anything wrong, but it's like...
If you're going to be... No.
Very much have
If you're
to
going to
read.
be... No, I'm
Very
no, but
committed.
I
No, but it is
That's
hard
funny, I'm
because in the
sorry.
era of, I know it's almost like you like turn that as on me, like, you know
yeah,
what I mean?
be
Like,
with me.
some underlining issues. Anyways,
What? Oh! Look at this! By the way, one person's committed to our marriage. T, put up your ring hand. Let's see it.
no. Guys, I'm sorry. I was doing dishes, I took it off. And I forgot to put it back on. Anyways, no, I think in the era of NIL, that makes it difficult too because you're going to have to pay for 2 kids.
Yeah.
And are we willing to pay what we were going to pay for both? Are they willing to maybe take less money if we're I don't really know, what that's like. But I'm with you too on the, like, if you're committed to me, like, come to me. I want you to be quote unquote pushy to me.
Right.
I don't want you to be pushy towards somebody else, or I don't want to feel like I'm the backup to somebody else coming in. But, it's not an easy process for anybody. I mean, for these athletes, for the
Right.
coaches.
Right.
And even then, kids can say they're committed, and they're not committed until their name is on that dotted line. So that's why it's hard for me, especially now, to even get excited about recruiting in a lot of ways, because you just never know what's actually going to happen on signing day.
True.
And even then, even if they sign, they could be gone the next portal time that opens. So
that's kind of my thing. It's like, man, there's
really
there's
until
no real...
they're on the field with their jersey on is when I'm like,
Right.
I would even say I get excited about them. And even then, it's now we've talked about it. It's just not as much as it used to be because I know they could turn around and be gone the next year. So
Yep.
I don't want to quote unquote fall in love with a player and then be sad when they leave.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I don't... Yeah.
But regardless,
Yeah. I think Senior Cowboy hits it on the head here. I just hope Arbuckle gets the QB or QBs he wants. Right. And I don't disagree with you. I think he would, in an ideal world, he mentions here, or actually Lee Wilson says they're not backing off. Les Wilson, sorry. That was terrible by me. They're not backing off. That's a nice fish, by the way. What is that? It's grainy on my
what kind
end.
of fish you got?
Yeah, that thing's nice. They're not backing off Jaden. They are just going strong on Bo. They want 2 QBs. They most likely wouldn't pay for those 2.
Yeah, he's mentioning the pay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they would love to. I think with those 2 guys that talented with those kind of options.
With John Mateer coming back, right? He's a junior.
He's a junior. He could. I think he's going pro after this year is what
Possible,
I'm hearing. Yeah.
but in theory, nowadays,
he could come back,
they're basically pro and making pro money. So unless
again,
it's going to be a first
and
or
again,
second
you
round.
got a Michael Hawkins behind him who's still
That's
there.
what I was gonna say.
It's
Then
like
you have Michael Hawkins, and you're going to bring in 2 more.
so.
Waiting your turn is not really a thing anymore.
Yeah,
So,
and I think I think when we're talking, we always have this behind the scenes, just the continual NIL era of. It's hard to keep kids here that can get money and playing time at other universities.
Right. I always
more
see
than
it like,
what used to
I know
be.
you mentioned like John Mateer might go pro, but with the money that he's going to make at OU, unless he really probably goes first or second round, he could potentially make more.
Yeah,
in college.
Right.
So that's pretty much why what's his name came back.
Oahu.
Came back. Dylan Gabriel went back to college because he didn't like his draft grade and where he was going to go. So,
yeah,
and then he goes to Oregon, who has bags.
Yeah, they got bang, absolutely. Bang.
He did well.
Boomer, thanks, Mars. Yeah, so there's that's kind of the recruiting front of everything, and again, I don't know, maybe because we're so jaded because of all that's happened in NIL recently that I just don't, recruiting right now doesn't stress me where I used to be so, who do we have, who's camping, who's doing all of this coming up in the summer. Really, I want to know who is taking officials in fall, who is starting to be, really, I think you can tell who is going to be a big recruit for Oklahoma whenever you see those guys they start recruiting on social media for other players. Mm-hmm. Saw David Stone do that a lot.
Right.
Which is why I was fairly confident he was going to come to Oklahoma the whole time. And that's not like a crazy take. I mean, I think most people really were. But I think that's whenever I'll be really bought into the recruiting cycle and the early signing day coming up, and seeing kind of where OU's needs are. Because I really think BV right now is just really pressing on save those spots for guys that have proven at the college level that have, again, it's not just that it's that they have a year of maturity, they have a year in a college system of muscle growth, of technique work, and just knowing how to be a college athlete, a student athlete. And if you can get guys out of the portal that can do that, that's great. Now, the difference is they're in the portal for a reason. And instead of getting the elite of the elite high school athlete developed, which I think you're still going to do, there's just a balance there. And I think right now they're just playing in the portal side of it.